Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. I'm your host, Leon Jones. And this evening's topic, I'm going to get into this question. Why do we continue to accept lies over truth? Why do we continue to accept lies over truth? Now, there are different types of lies. Now, here's my belief. It comes down to self-esteem. And it starts when we're young. Some parents will tell us everything to make us feel good. They have buckets of positivity. But at the end of the day, when we grow up and get into the real world, some things that our parents told us weren't truth, and we're going to be sadly disappointed. There are also lies, I will tell you, that we say about ourselves. Mostly we use the lies to present ourselves better than we really are. But mainly we use those lies to maintain the impression that others have on us or how others see us. Also, there are lies we use to manipulate others. So these types of lies basically take definitely skills of preparation and talent. You see, one thing about politicians and authors and media types, the big skill they have is how to communicate, and they know their audience. This is why salesmen and politicians are very skillful at using deception to try to get voters to vote for them, or to try to get customers to buy a product that could be inferior. But does that answer the question about why we tend to take lying over the truth? No, it doesn't. But I do have my own opinion about it, and I'm sure some people believe it as well. When it comes to lies, I'm going to go back to self-esteem. Because a number of us will tell somebody a lie to make them feel good. Because individuals like being flattered. And I say that because flattery is the strongest weapon that a liar carries. I'm going to give you an example of the salesman again. A salesman can say, with that body of yours, you can wear anything you like and it will look good on you. Well, the customer will be ashamed to get out of the store without buying anything. Although I believe the salesman lied, the salesman forced the customer through deception and through guilt to buy something, even though that dress or that article of clothing will not look good on that person. But it's the manipulation that the salesmen use. And this is what's going on in this country. Again, the politician says people of our nation are intelligent, honest, and know how to fight for their rights and the voter rights with their eyes shut. Well, the voter is flattered and will buy anything a politician wants to sell. Well, if this guy is so clever to understand that we are smart and great, he wouldn't lie to us. Well, from then on, the voters will believe anything that will make them feel good. Again, it's going back to self-esteem. Also, you have a number of people who don't have a clue, especially when it comes to budgets. Now, I'm using examples now. Somebody could tell you their version of what's rich and poor. But if you don't have the slightest clue about what rich and poor is, about a fiscal budget, about how much the government will spend on programs, you'll fall for the okie doke. Why? Because you're not educated enough to understand anything about budgets. And also, you don't know how the government works. And when it comes to believing what people say, too many of us trust the wrong people. Let's take media coverage. Because when you hear the same story reported internationally and on local newspapers, they'll believe the opinion of the local media, especially if the political perspective is left and right wing. This is where the partisanship comes in. I'll give you an example on the media. Most of the right wingers believe in Fox News and most of the left wingers believe in CNN. Why? Because the media that they choose is closer to their political beliefs. So, when a country has a president or prime minister and they say the country does everything right and all other world leaders disagree, guess who they're going to believe? They're going to believe their president or prime minister. You also have to understand that many of us lie because the truth scares people. And I'll tell you some of the biggest liars. And also, to me, being omissionary is a lie too. Here's a big example. Going to the doctor. If you had a problem for a long time and you go to the doctor at the last moment, what's going to happen? The doctor's going to give you some bad news because you don't want to hear the truth of what's really happening. Well, when it comes to truth and facts, even the most gullible ones have some doubts from time to time. Most likely, when a person has been fooled dozens of times, they become hip to what's going on. But even when that happens, they do everything they can to overcome the doubts and suspicions when they've been fooled. Why? Because they've done some research. They found out that the person who was actually telling you something was lying. When you became gullible, you may have been out of money, out of a house, out of something that made you feel uncomfortable. And this happens, again, when you start examining facts and arguments. Why? Because when you examine facts and arguments, there's always a chance that you will prove them wrong after you believe in their lies. Now, making peace with this awkward truth is a lot of trouble, and they know it. So individuals will say to hell with clues and evidence. They don't want to get in an uncomfortable state of disenchantment, of accepting that their expectations were faulty or that they've been tricked. They'll keep believing this crock of you-know-what to make themselves feel good. Also, when it comes to truth, people want to hear what they want to hear. And research has shown that people tend to avoid information that contradicts their beliefs or way of thinking. And this can be done in two ways, actively and passively. Actively means that they will choose which articles to read, to ignore the speech of a politician they don't support, and generally select the information they will consume. Passively means reinterpreting the information you receive if it runs counter to your beliefs, judging it or adapting it to match your opinion so you won't have to doubt your own thinking. Now, opting for information that corresponds to your own views is safe. People who want to utilize illusion for safety basically build an impervious wall around them, blocking all information that could question their opinion. So with all that being said, does truth stand any chance at all? Yes and no. But there's another trap. Rational people believe that reasonable arguments are enough to convince and help others who have been deceived. And that too is a lie. The reality is that if you don't take into consideration all the psychological parameters that I had just mentioned, then there is no chance to convince anyone about anything, no matter how rational your arguments are. Now, If you want to have a chance in your efforts to confute popular myths and misconceptions, you must remember these items that I'm going to tell you. Number one, the more you make fun of the myth and judge the believer's gullibility, the stronger they will hold on to their tale. Talk to them about the value of truth and not about the absurdity of the myth. Number two, speak briefly in plain and understandable words. Don't use these big vocabulary words. You don't need to sound like you went to Oxford. Make sure you keep everything in layman terms, because the more you keep talking, the more they'll be frightened. Why? Because they're going to think you're just trying to trick them, because in their minds, they've already been tricked. What you're trying to do, you're trying to give them some real truth. Like in the black community, you're trying to keep it a buck. Number three, when eradicating a myth and retracting false information, you leave behind a painful gap within the soul of the believer, and you have to find a way to make up for it. You can't just take away a baby's favorite blanket. You have to find other ways to comfort the baby until it can sleep without missing the blanket. Number four, you have to repeat your rational arguments multiple times. The first time it won't be heard. The second time, one or two words might make an impression. You will be asking, didn't we say the same things yesterday? And they might believe you're making fun of them. Number five, the bigger the lie one believes in, the more difficult it is for you to prove that it is not true. The truth has endless goods, but it can't carry the fascination of a conspiracy theory. It doesn't sell hope, and a lot of work is required to make it understandable. And remember, there are only two mistakes one can make along the road of truth: not going all the way and not starting. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Friday, October 12th, 2018. You can tune into the 401 Talk Zone radio show every Wednesday. I will be getting my Blog Talk radio shows back up, and I'm going to go right into the political spectrum because we are getting close to political season. Make sure you understand who you're voting for and get out and vote. If you want to get in on any of my conversations, the guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 401 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now on this channel, I don't engage in debates, controversial issues, or emotional issues. Now some of the information may be sensitive because, like truth, many of us do not handle the truth well. That's why we continue to live in the lie. But here at the 401 Talk Zone radio show, I strive for the truth because this channel is a therapeutic, educational, and self-awareness channel. This is why I do not engage in any bickering or unnecessary drama, because it's counterproductive. What I do here is give you reality, but I keep it positive, because if you have knowledge, you have power. And if you have a topic, a new YouTube channel, or business that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, simply email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. And that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed evening. God bless you, and good night.